Time to start working on the roof. Come over here closer so people can see you.
All 15 of them.
Today's overcast, so we thought it'd be a perfect day to get going on the roof. First step is to get up on top. We need to put down a 2x6 that'll tie both units together and also is on a level plane. And then we can start building the structure for up there. So we'll get started. This is what the containers look like up here on top. So that 2x6 over there I laid down, and that's what we'll start screwing down. Oh, sorry, that's the laser beeping. Where they screwed in the spurring strips for inside to attach the ceiling insulation, they just use these self-tapping screws. They came right up through the top of the container, so there's plenty of screws. So this is not it's like a Chinese torture chamber up here, not the place to fall down. So what we're going to do is these laser out pretty level, but the containers aren't exactly like this one on this side. It has a little bit of a bow in it, bows down. So I want to make sure that we have something totally level to start with. So I'm going to start by screwing this 2x6 down. So we'll shim it if necessary, but you can see how it will span both containers. So I'll be able to put a self-tapping lag in each side and pull, it'll fasten them together and also give us a level thing to work with. So I've got the laser set up over there, so I'll use this pole and get it until that's reading just perfect. Like that. We'll do that everywhere, and then we'll have something to start with. So this top first corner is kind of like ground zero. So this should be good. Therefore, so it needs to go down a little bit. Right there is good. So we'll start with that. Perfect. So now the process will be to laser and shim and screw all the way down. Then this center will be perfectly level, and we'll start building the middle ridge support for the roof off of that. This is where we're at. I was able to get this center 2x6 all shimmed up. Now there turned out to be quite a big dip in the middle of these containers. So that could have happened because there's those big cutouts on the inside. So when you're building with containers, they seem like they're strong and indestructible, but if you start cutting big chunks out of them, they lose some of their strength. Anyways, this is perfectly, well, not perfectly, it's less than an eighth level all the way down. I have a line here to build a wall on. So now the idea is I'm going to build a 5-foot wall that will stand up on this and be our ridge support. And then we will do a 2-foot wall on this side, so it'll still 3 feet over the 8 feet in width, and that'll be our support for this center section. So I've got these pieces. Kate, these are the top and bottom plates. Kate cut all of the studs, which Lincoln is bringing up, and we're going to build 4 wall sections and stand them up, and that'll be our ridge support. This is how I decided to do the rafters. I'm just going to crisscross them at the top with no notch. And this is kind of a unique situation for them, for the rafters to be sitting on like a wall at the ridge. Normally it would be a ridge beam, or a truss would have everything built into it. But I think this is going to be pretty strong. So this one here is just a brace that will come out. That's holding the wall straight. And then I've strung a string from there down to the other side. And I've done strings on the outside as well, because this wood is just all squirrely. So I don't really trust it without that. So down here I'm also not doing a bird's mouth cut or anything like that, because the next rafter that goes out to the end of the house is going to come up in here and overlap. So there'll be two of them there together, sandwiched, and then they'll both get nailed. I'll probably do a bird's mouth cutout on the end where the post connects to the edge of the container. So I'll set up the camera here and see if I can get some rafters on before it gets dark. So these parts right here, I'll just be able to trim these off just with a, just trim that with a chainsaw or something. It's lining up pretty good. As squirrely as everything was, it's lining up. It seemed like I didn't get as much done as I wanted to today, and it took forever, but at least got this part done. So we'll be back at it in the morning. So now it's a matter of extending these down and catching this edge of the container and these posts on the outside.
Okay, here we are. Zach's been busy. He's got the rafters on the north side of the building.
So I just start out by putting these beams across to tie into the posts. Then once those are in level, then I went and notched these rafters all the same. I've nailed them all at the tops where they overlap with the ones I did yesterday. And now I've just got the string on the bottom. I'm measuring them and then putting them on layout. So once we nail this side, we'll be able to go over to the other side where it's just posts and cut and notch and do all that over there. So we'll show you that in a minute. It's turning out okay. The lumber's pretty twisted, but we're making do. We're ready to start cutting the posts on this other side. So what I've done is set the laser up here in this corner. So from that corner, it can see all the other posts and also the front beam that I put in. So I'm going to set the laser height to correspond with the bottom of that beam. Then I can come over here, mark that on every post. Then from that'll be the bottom of the notch. And then from there I go up 7 inches and I'll cut off all the posts. So I'll do that right now. Okay, now that's set. So now I can go over here and mark all of these ones and cut them off with the chainsaw. Oops. I also ran a line from the rafters I put on yesterday that's on the same plane that crosses this first post I'm gonna notch, just as like a double check, because if this notch for some reason is a lot different, it shouldn't be because everything's level now, but if it were different, then the rafters would hinge in the middle and then the roof would have a weird hump on it. So just as a double check thing, we've got a string over here to check it out. that should be perfect.
Flies are biting me.
They're fighting?
Yeah. I just had two little ones on my ankle, and it was like stinging.
We've got this board that's twisted, so if you have to deal with twisted lumber all the time, then you make tools to deal with it. So we have this persuader that Kate is going to twist this straight and then I'm going to nail it.
So I'm just going to push that back.
Just an 8-foot 2x4 that fits around with a 2-inch space in there, so you can really get a lever on stuff. A little more, a little more. It might spring back, so go a little bit more if you can. Okay, that's good. Okay. Let's see. We got all the rafters cut, so now we're going to take them and lay one out in each spot. Then we'll nail all the tops, and then we will put a string on the bottom, line them up, or square them up, and then do a layout and lay them out. So time to move all of these. The hydraulics on the backhoe go down slowly. Need to fix something in there. Must be a bad seal in those rams. So if we don't hurry, then this will hit. So time to move. So after you get trusses or rafters on, the next step is to put something the opposite direction. So your options are to sheet it with OSB or to use purlins. So this is a little less expensive, and it needs to be a little less robust of a roof because 99% of it is waterproof, the containers. So we'll put these 2x4s like this, perpendicular to the rafters, every 2 feet, all the way up, all the way down. And then that's actually what the metal will attach to. So we have a pile of 2x4s. We're not going to cut these, we're just going to lay them up there like that and overlap the seams. It makes it faster and a little stronger. So got Mike here helping me today, so we should make good progress. We're making good progress. So this is how we overlap them so you don't have to cut them. And you end up using a few more boards, but it goes like twice as fast. And then if there's any discrepancy in the width between the boards, you don't have to sit there and fiddle with it. And so we got this part over to here. We just need this one section. But in order to put these up, we've had to trim these. And I'm doing it with this DeWalt cordless chainsaw. So I'll zip this one off here. Much faster than trying to mark those accurately before you put them up. Just put them up, overlap them, and trim them off. Okay, good to go. It's a little before noon and starting to get warm. We got this side done except for the bottom row, which I need to snap a line down there before we do it. I'm gonna go back and work on some cabinets, and then we'll come back in the evening. On this side, we just need to do the odd row, so I guess we did a little over half. So we'll put those on, then I'll snap a line along the bottom, trim them off, run one more row at the bottom, and then cap it with the fascia board. Then we'll need to snap a line on the ends, trim them, block them, and then we'll be almost ready for metal. It's starting to look like something. Back on the roof, up here this morning, just doing a little work. So I ended up cutting these tails all off snapped a line and cut them all off straight. And then I've just been adding this blocking, which will help support it so it won't sag on these ends. So I also trimmed the tails of the rafters straight. So next thing is I'll go get a couple of 2x8s, and that's what I use for the fascia, and we'll stick that along. It's going pretty good. After I do that, we'll be ready for the metal, so gotta get that ordered, and this thing will be more waterproof inside. Going good.